I want to introduce to you a great patriot, a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, Mr. Richard Dufresne. Rich, come on up.
I'm not here to talk to you about socialism, communism, or the other elitisms that permeate our government. I'm not here to talk to you about the FEMA camps or the 700 million plus rounds of hollow point ammunition our government has ordered in the last year. I'm not even going to mention Benghazi. I mean, what difference does it make, right? But I am here to welcome you to the Freedom Rally.
Yeah! I'd like to welcome you all here to little old North Brookfield. I'd like to thank everybody for participating and coming out in the cold. I'm looking at this one here that says guns aren't scary, politicians are, and I'm not sure how to feel about that being a member of the Board of Selectmen. Well, you're watching. Excellent. Thank you. And a lot of people have the misconception that guns are for hunting. Okay, and that's fine. They are. I hunt. I know a lot of people here hunt. However, you have to go back to the way it was originally intended to understand really what is meant by the Second Amendment. And we hear about George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or John Adams when they talk about your right to bear arms. Well, I think no one really puts it more succinctly than Noah Webster in 1787 when he wrote, "Before a standing army can rule, the people must be disarmed, as they are in almost every kingdom in Europe. The supreme power in America cannot enforce unjust laws by the sword because the whole body of the people are armed." Okay. Tyranny and oppression are the reasons we have the Second Amendment. If you compromise, and we do, on any part of the Constitution, if we compromise on any of our rights, we will lose them all. All right? So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Brian Doe. I'm a 8-year active duty Army veteran, 27 months in Iraq. I also completed over 1,000 combat patrols while deployed in Iraq. I currently serve as a Department of Defense police officer, and more importantly, I'm an Oath Keeper. Now, first of all, Oath Keepers is a nonpartisan association of current serving military, veterans, peace officers, and firefighters who will fulfill the oath we swore with the support of like-minded citizens who take an oath to stand with us to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, so help us God. Our oath is to the Constitution, not to politicians and not to any political party. In long-standing tradition of the U.S. military, we are apolitical. We don't care if the unlawful order comes from a Democrat or Republican, or it's bipartisan, or if it comes from a leader in the military, the president, or chief of police, your sheriff. If it is an unlawful order, it is your duty to stand down and not execute that order. It's your duty to stand down.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all. As you may can tell from the accent, I'm the token Brit today. Being from England, I thought I'd tell you a very small, short tale of what could happen here if we don't protect and support our Second Amendment. In 1900, a British subject could own any gun, any firearm, any weapon he wanted. But then the government started thinking, well, we don't want people to have guns. The Russian Revolution took place after World War I. They introduced new legislation that made British subjects, if they wanted to own a gun, to show good reason why they needed to have a gun. And guess who judged the good reason? The government. Further progressive gun control in the United Kingdom took away your rights to own a short-barreled shotgun and an automatic weapon. That was in 1936. Not because Bonnie and Clyde were going around shooting up banks, but because the government said, you have no reason to own a weapon like that. Keep going. 1988, all semi-automatic shotguns and rifles were banned, including pump-action rifles. Keep going again, 98. All handguns were banned. And how did they ban them? Well, because you had to register the gun on your license. The police knew exactly who had what, where you lived, and if you didn't turn it in within so many weeks, you could go to prison for 10 years. You've gone from being an armed society in 1900 to today, in 2013, where it is basically against the law to defend your home, your life, your property against the criminals and the scum in that society.
I served in Iraq, and I just came home from Afghanistan 2 months ago. I spent the last 12 years of my military career either training or deployed to liberate foreign nations from an oppressive and tyrannical government. Now, after coming home, I find myself defending my fellow Americans from the same tyranny. It may be in a different way, but it's still a fight that I take seriously. While I was in Iraq, we allowed every home to have a fully automatic AK-47 with sufficient rounds and magazines for their protection. Some may have been used against us, but we knew that the Iraqi army and the coalition forces could not protect those people. All of the sacrifices that I have made in service of this country over the years will be wiped away with the stroke of a pen, and I will become a criminal for doing nothing wrong.
We have leaders that we gave the power to, trying to take those rights from us. Rights that are not granted by any document or given to us by any man or woman, but rights that we are given by birth. The right to protect ourselves and the right to ensure we stay free men and women that we are born. Our forefathers knew that the key to keeping us a free people was to keep us armed. They knew that the importance of this was so great that they added the words, "shall not be infringed." Nowhere else does it say this in the Constitution. We live in a free nation, and as such, should never live in fear of that freedom being taken from us. Sadly, such is not the case anymore.
A lot of you don't realize, but the Brookfields were a power place in Massachusetts in the 1600s. The governors had their homes in lakes not that far from here. During the Revolution, during the very first battles, thousands and thousands and thousands of local residents from these surrounding areas in a 20-mile radius marched and mustered and went. And the people that were involved were no different than you and I. And a lot of them, it was not just the men. It wasn't like that back then. If the women could go, they followed along. They gave them food, they gave them clothing. That's right. It wasn't just a men thing. Right? She knows what I'm talking about. They mustered, they were part of those first battles. And it's that spirit that carries forward today. 400 years ago, 33% of the people didn't care either way, whether we stayed English or we became American. 33% wanted us to stay British. They were afraid of the future. 33% were like you and I here today. They cared. They made a difference. Now, we can talk about the Second Amendment and how we feel today about that, and that's important. That's what's bringing us here today. But it's not just the Second Amendment. It's part of a bigger group of amendments called the Bill of Rights. And that's what's the most important thing here to remember. Don't lose sight of that. We have people standing here with notepads and cameras because of the Bill of Rights. They were allowed to report without fear of the government coming down and taking those notepads and cameras away. We have people like myself that are standing here talking to you because of the First Amendment. And the reason I can do that is because of the Second Amendment.
We're going to give you a little entertainment now. We're going to have Fiddle and Ed come up and play some patriotic songs on his fiddle here. Yeah. Give him a minute to get set up.
Open chains all in my brain. Let me see, they'll see the same. They're acting funny, and I know why. Barney Frank is gonna kiss that guy. Open chains.
Hello, it's nice to see this many people on this lovely sunny day. What I'm going to say is very short. But after the last rally we had in Boston, I had so many people come up to me, shake my hand, want to talk to me, want to hear my story. Because I wasn't in the Army, I didn't serve, but I'm here because I believe in the Second Amendment. And there were people that showed up at the rally, and they were afraid to speak. Not only is it important for us to be here, but it's important for us to speak. My message is very simple. I'm a father, I'm a teacher, and I support the Second Amendment.
This is hallowed ground that we are standing on. Massachusetts is where this country got its start. It is home to the shot heard round the world, the first attempt at gun control. We have a right to bear arms to defend ourselves against the initiation of physical force, initiated by someone who wants to harm us. But in order to protect your right to own and bear arms, you need to know what a right is. You have to define it, because you can bet those who want to take it away don't want you to know what it is. You have the right to life, to liberty, to property, and the pursuit of happiness. These are unalienable rights, meaning they cannot be separated from your nature, from what you are.
And exactly what is an assault weapon? You know, that ballpoint pen in my pocket. This mic stand is an assault weapon in the hands of a drug-induced lunatic. There you go. So when you see those silhouettes of scary little rifles and their banana clips, they're no different than any other gun. They're tools. They're tools of personal defense. They're tools to defend a country. All right, that's what they are. We heard a number of people say that these are rights that we have that are inherent upon our humanity. And I'm glad to hear more and more of that. And I don't want to hear people say they have the constitutional right for anything anymore. You have the God-given right. These are not constitutional rights. The maniacs in Boston and in D.C. have access to that Constitution. And they will amend it to their own ends if you let them. You know, those bad guns did those bad things. You've got to take them away from us. And they keep repeating the same garbage over and over. See, they know that if they repeat it enough times, enough people will believe it. I want to read you a quote of what this man said while defending himself for his position in the Obama administration. The Constitution doesn't work in some instances. It's a quote right from Mr. John Kerry. Unfortunately, he is symbolic of most of the Congress critters. And he's going to get appointed, you know what's going to happen. And to anyone who's recording this, and it might go out on YouTube and to the rest of the country, I am sorry. We have let one loose beyond the borders of Massachusetts to wreak havoc on the whole country, and I am very sorry for that. I'm glad he's gone as a senator, but unfortunately we've unleashed him on the country.